Hey guys, Rachel here. So it has finally stopped raining. I swear it rained like 10 days straight, and it's still fairly cloudy today. It's going to be cloudy tomorrow, and I think it's going to rain again the next day. So the garden is getting plenty of water, but even less light than it normally would. So everything is growing very, very slowly. Before we get into the garden tour today, I just want to let y'all know, first of all, this is going to be the last garden tour of 2022. I'm going to take a bit of a break, relax over the holidays, and then see you guys again in the new year. Number 2 is from now until Christmas, Organic Rev is having a sale. They're giving out free 4-ounce bottles on any order, and if you spend more than $50, you get 2 free bottles. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Organic Rev is like this fertilizer that's not really a fertilizer. It's really just like a microbial boost for your soil. If you want to hear me talk more about why I recommend this product, you can check out the video up here. So while a lot of things are looking worse over the winter, something that is actually looking kind of better is this thyme plant that I put here. This is an older plant that I had at my old place. I took it out of a pot and put it here, kind of hoping that it would fill out this space, this curve in my path. And it looked sad all winter, and all summer. And I just assumed that it was because the grass was like kind of choking it out, and it probably was some of that. But I think that the thyme also is liking the cooler weather better, because the one in the raised bed is also looking a little bit happier. And no amount of fluctuation in temperature or water can really damage this mint plant. It is tenacious and always growing. It is like a little bit damaged, I think, from the cold, but you can see there's still plenty of it that looks perfectly happy. So down this row is my fava beans and garlic. The garlic has, for the most part, come up at this point, and I've got it all planted directly underneath the trellis so that in the spring, when I'm planting tomatoes here again, I can plant tomatoes kind of where these fava beans are, and similarly on the other side, and they're not really going to interfere with the garlic, because if you remember, garlic takes a while, and I'm not going to be harvesting this until midsummer. This will be my second year planning for that interplanting with the onions and the garlic, and I think it worked out really well last year, so I'm doing it again. Fava beans have been making flowers, but not really setting beans. You can see this little bee visiting. That is so cute, right on cue with the camera and everything. What a cute little bee. Anyways, so these lower ones are not pollinated properly, which is why they didn't form a little bean. And this little guy just made sure that this flower is nice and pollinated, so I can expect to see this set a bean. The only other reasons it might not, besides pollination, is perhaps like temperature, weather conditions. So if the plant gets really unhappy, then it might not set any fruit. But hopefully, with the rain kind of easing off, these will start actually setting beans. And then down this next row, remember I have brassicas and then some onions down the middle. Here at the front is celery, and I think my 6th plant is actually done for and dead, but the other 5 look great, so that is encouraging, seeing as it's my first time growing celery. And basically all the onions that I transplanted in here survived. I haven't noticed any at all that died. And even the sprouted ones from my pantry, all of these also have survived. So I've got some really interesting onions coming up this year. My trellis with the peas on it still has living pea vines, but no peas yet. Although I think there's a couple of flowers on here. I am not like super hopeful that they'll make peas, because it is supposed to get below freezing again soon, and I think these vines might actually die. But for the moment, they're still putting on new growth and trying to be happy. So these are not going to get torn out until they are actually like dead. Something I am really excited to show you guys though is, if you remember last time, I talked about planting even more carrots, and because it rained and rained and rained, they stayed damp. So now I have little carrot sprouts everywhere. It's pretty high germination rate for me for carrots, so I'm really hoping that I actually get a row of carrots out of this. I would be so happy. I should probably buy some actual like frost fabric or something to go here. This is just a bed skirt that doesn't fit my mattress anymore. It's doing a very good job as outdoor fabric, keeping the animals from digging and also letting air and water and light through, and it's been keeping the carrots damp as well. Oh, I just spotted one of these pea flowers. Maybe I'll get a pea. A singular pea, we'll see. Alright, and then this last row is also onions down the middle and a few brassicas, some of my home started ones that are puny and not very healthy looking, and then further down a few I got from the store that are still small but definitely healthier looking than the other ones, and my one home started Brussels sprout that actually like grew up to be a decent size and is making little baby Brussels sprouts. You can see them coming in here. They're kind of loose, but I'm not going to complain too much about that. I have already put on my calendar for next year when to plant my Brussels sprout seeds, and it is June. June is when I am starting them, and that sounds super early, but that's what it took to get that one plant that actually grew up to be a decent size. The herbs in the raised bed, overall looking great. Cilantro here, still growing slowly, but I might eventually be able to use some of it because it's starting to look a little bit close to big enough to harvest from. My sage has started dropping a lot of yellow leaves, but you can see it's making a bunch of new tiny ones, so I'm not concerned about it dropping old leaves at all. This still looks like a very healthy plant to me. Not a whole lot to see in the berry patch. An interesting thing I noted is this particular blueberry has been like the healthiest plant that I have had all year. And each of these four is a different variety, because I just wanted to have some variety. But I might end up getting more of this one because it seems to be doing really well in this area. You can see all the cute little buds, and this looks like brand new leaves here at the top that it's still putting out, which looks great. Whereas this one next to it basically dropped all its leaves. You can see sticks. It's just sticks and a couple of red leaves. So it's definitely not dead, but like not as healthy as that. It hasn't gotten cold enough yet to kill off the strawberry. I still haven't cut back the blackberry, and in the somewhat warmer weather we've had, the raspberries have started putting on new fruits. You can see some of these older ones that didn't quite make it, but these ones, that looks healthy. And over here are some fresh flowers. So I might get a couple more raspberries. We'll see. It's gonna get really cold again. This turnip in the patch that is growing next to my porch where I dropped a bunch of seeds is like the healthiest looking turnip I've ever seen, growing up against this brick wall. It's actually probably kind of warm given the brick wall. You can see this is the last year's turnip with all the dead twigs that had seeds attached, and there's just a couple of healthy turnips down here looking great, living their best life. Like, these leaves are probably really tender for eating. The thing is, I don't really trust the soil here right next to the house. I found all sorts of stuff in the soil around here, and especially like right up next to a foundation like this. I don't know, it feels kind of iffy. I don't exactly know how much sense that makes given that I have house here and garden there, but like I put good soil over there and this is right next to bricks, and somehow that just feels safer to eat from. Okay, and before I go, I check in on the mushroom logs. Since it rains so much, now would be a good time to keep an eye out for new growth. There are a bunch of these on here, which they're kind of looking like turkey tail, but not quite. I'm not entirely sure what they are, but they are not the lion's mane, that's for sure. Oh, look at that. That is lion's mane. It is teeny tiny baby, but it's probably going to grow in the next couple of days. That is exciting. Back to these, I did spend a fair bit of time trying to ID these mushrooms. This one, it's got pores on it like turkey tail, but you can see there in the middle, they're elongating a bit and starting to look a little toothy, which is what a lot of these undersides look like, is just a little toothier than I would expect turkey tail to look. So I'm not entirely sure, and I'm never going to eat a mushroom that I'm like not 100% sure on the ID. But if anybody out there knows for sure what this is, so I can look at it and figure it out, let me know. Alrighty guys, that is it from me today. Remember, no more garden tours for the rest of the year. As always, I will leave a playlist here if you want to catch up if you missed any. And don't forget, from now until Christmas, get that free bottle of Rev with any order. Link is down below. Until next time guys, happy gardening!